So you're just trying to actually find a way that you can integrate the community, which is something very, very hard for
Mm.
us.
What is hard about integrating in the community?
Coming in a new place that you don't speak the language, which is you don't speak the language, and there's a lot of I don't want to really stress about it, but it's just kind of like discrimination about when you come in, people don't want to stay close to you. They kind of look at you like an issue. They don't look at you like a solution. So for whatever you do, you have to put double effort, and then to actually make sure you get accepted is is something that is a long process. And for us as a refugee, we don't have that patience to actually let people to accept us because we feel like we've gone through a great deal.
Mm.
Being here is like having to go about death, going over death, going over beating every day, every torture, everything. So when you come here, sometimes we need to have a place that we can call home, that we can actually go and stay there and relax, and to have a place that we can, because for us here as a refugee and like myself, it's very hard for the people here to rent a house to us because they don't want to deal with us. And for us now, finding a place is one of the hardest things. And then finding how to actually get around to actually get a place that you can actually sit, relax, and think about the future is very hard. Not to talk about the language, which is because the Greek that they are speaking here is very difficult for us to learn it because there's no books to learn about Cyprus Greek. Once you speak the language, it's easy for you to integrate the community
Mm.
because they will see you differently than when you come you don't speak at all.
So you say so October. So you've been in Cyprus about 6 months, and then you had to spend some time in a camp. What was that like?
Yes. In a camp, wow, this is hard because in a camp, when you get into the camp, you sleep under the tent.
Mm.
And sleeping under the tent, that means you have a bed which is not comfortable at all. And in the night, it's freezing.
Right.
It is freezing, really cold. And they cannot do much about it. That's what they have. I don't know, maybe from now that I'm speaking now, they have changed it. But at the time we were there, it was currently in the winter. So it was very cold. So we were there, and then to actually get the necessary, like, so to have a good shower, things like that. The toilet was not in up to the standard
Mm.
for a normal person, and they will not look at it because at the end of the day we are just refugee, so
Mm.
we are not like a Cyprus people, so they will not take in that into great deal. So they will be just okay, that's fine. They will manage it. And then once they're out, they make sure that when you stay there for like 1 week, they want to push you out so other people can come in. And when they push you out, some of them they don't even ask you if you have. They ask you if you have somebody. If you don't have anybody, they will ask you, would you be able for them to drop you in Solomon Square in Nicosia? From there, you find your way to live.
And how do you? So, right. So how do you find somewhere to live if if you when you are told to leave the camp?
When they leave you out of the camp, this is now it's up to you to
Right.
find the way. But now, because other people that have been here before us, we have to go to them to actually for them to actually direct us to places like Dignity, like Caritas, like Kisas, like April Refugees Council. Those are the places that we can go and get the information required for us to actually try know where to go to and how we can get the help.
Where are you living now? What's your living situation? What?
My living situation for the moment is difficult, it's hard because I'm living about 68 kilometers from Nicosia.
Okay.
I live in a small village called Galata. It's not it's really far. It's very far from Nicosia, but we have to go there because this is the only place where we can have some place where the government have provided with hostel. We can go and sleep over there. And then in the hostel, we are sleeping six in one room.
You got 6 people sleep in one room.
Yes.
Right. And
So
tell me how many toilets, how many kitchens for those 6 people?
only one toilet, no kitchen.
No
And then for
kitchen.
the whole building, no kitchen. For the whole building, we are about 19 people for one kitchen for the whole building.
So it's a busy kitchen, right?
Very busy. So to actually get to cook something, you have to wake up very early. You really have to wake up very early, and you have to make sure that you have to buy your own catering plate and pot to make sure that when you go in there, because what they provide us for 80 people, they provide about three pot
Okay.
for all of us.
Yeah.
So whilst those three pots have been busy, so that means you have to find your own ways. So you have to make sure that not knowing where you're going to get the pot, not having any money at all, you have to go to places like Dignity that will actually find a way that they will provide stuff to Caritas. Caritas then will give us some pot
Yeah.
and stuff like that, or the Red Cross, where we can take those pot at home, and then once you get a change, because and the bad thing about that is the kitchen is not that big. It's about 4 square feet, 4 square meters. So now for you to actually get to cook, you have to be up 6 o'clock when everyone is sleeping. Through Dignity, I had a job, so I had to move to Limassol to start working there. So when I have one day off, the one day off that I have, I'm working at Dignity. So and then I
What were
had
you
to
doing
work
in
for.
Limassol, Rodrigue? What were you doing in Limassol?
I was I was working as a kitchen assistant,
Okay.
because as a refugee you cannot work other things. You cannot serve people. You can only work as a kitchen assistant, or you can work as lifter, load lifter, things like that. So I
Can you tell
worked
me
there
more or less
for
how much do you get paid as a kitchen assistant, more or less?
as a kitchen assistant. Is you get paid about 600.
600 euros a month
Yes,
for 6 days a week.
for 6 days a week.
Okay.
So you do 9 hours a day. You work 6 days a week, 9 hours a day. You have one day off, and you get 600 euros.
54 hours a
Then
week for 600 euros a month.
yes,
Okay.
some places you get lucky, they give you 800. Some places they give you 830.
Right.
But it depends, because the most difficult part is, as an asylum seeker, it's really difficult for them to employ you, because you have to get a permit, and very few companies here in Cyprus have a permit to employ asylum seekers. Which is, when some of them get to employ you, you have to go on a very less than the minimum wage.
Right.
But for you, is an opportunity for you to actually go out and get some money
Yeah.
and work, actually try to get a better life than what you are having, than living in a room with 6 people in one bedroom. So you want to make sure that you want to go out of it. So even if they give you 400, you would still take it
Sure.
for a time,
Yeah.
because you have no option, because very few of them can take you on.
Yeah.
So